We want to take a moment to welcome everyone to the Watch This Shit podcast. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. My name is Seneca, the movie professor, and today I have my collaborator and cooperator with me, Young Sam. Go ahead and introduce yourself, bruh.
Hey, it's Young Sam, aka the movie apprentice.
That's my dog. All right. With this podcast, we're going to give you the definitive decision on whether you should go view a new movie or not. It's real easy. If we say, watch this shit, stop what you're doing, and enjoy some good cinema. If we say, don't watch this shit, avoid it as you would zip lining without a harness. Or don't. You can do what you want. It may be fun. It may cost you a long fall with a sudden stop. You want to listen to us, you put your life in your own hands. First off, I need to issue an apology to everybody, young Sam, as well as the audience. I told him that the next movie that we would review would be Spider Verse, Into the Spider Verse. But the second entry in the series is called Across the Spider Verse. We both knew what movie we meant, but the mistake is on me. But it also is on the damn filmmakers. It's almost the exact same title for the first and second entry. Come on. We got to do something about these naming conventions. You listen to our videos. You hear how we title the shit. That's how it should be laid out. All right. Back to our review in progress. We've made no secret that our current reigning favorite movie of the year so far, what the title of that is. Yes, it is still Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The year is almost up, so I'm hoping for some surprises. As it stands, any excuse I can make to watch the movie again. I saw this thing 5 times in the theater. I'll take it. With that, today we have today's review. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. People still sleeping on Miles, even though he has two of the best Spider-Man movies created under his belt.
Mm.
I've had arguments with people that don't think the character has personality and is too similar to their dearly beloved Peter Parker. Well, in the films, he is nothing like those arguments they proclaim. Watching these films has given a perspective into other cultures that is much needed. Also, Peter goofy ass ain't going nowhere. He has more movies than most other comic book properties. He is one of the most recognized superheroes in the world. I think he'll be okay. And I'm all for making changes and trying something different if it means we get good cinema. Young Sam, you got anything to say to the Miles haters out there before we get into it?
You say he has no personality? Like, are they watching these movies? That's
Well,
the only thing I gotta
their
say.
their argument is about the comics.
Shut the fuck up.
I like it.
Hmm.
That's how you win the argument. Shut your dumb ass up. All right. Let's do this one more time. For those of you that don't know the story, Miles Morales, the protagonist of our series, got bit by a radioactive spider in the last film and developed spider powers. He was mentored by Peter B. Parker in the art of Spider-Man, and through the course of the film, gained the confidence to be a superhero. Along the way, he made some long-standing friendships and grew as a person. In the second entry into the series, they're going to take everything that was great about the first movie and multiply it by 10, 20, maybe 100. In this film, we are introduced to a whole legion of Spider-Mans that have banded together with the purpose of attempting to keep order with all the multiverse shenanigans going on. Miles, upon learning of the potential threat to his personal life, makes a decision that puts him in direct conflict with his counterparts. It is extremely rare for a sequel to improve on the original, but somehow they did it. Sam, do you have any insight that could be deemed from the works here that could possibly help other franchises do the same thing?
Um, one piece of advice is to l really like your product and learn about your character and learn about what you're writing. And because nowadays, it just seems like a lot of studios, they don't really care, they're just in it for the money, so it's just like ka-ching, bye. But you can see with Spider-Man, they actually care about the product they're producing just because the way it looks, the way it sounds. I mean, it's just a really good film. The
It is
series
an
is really
amazing
good.
film. hmm And I like what you said. They put love and care into what they were doing. They understood the property, they learned about it, and they liked it. It's not just a cash grab. I mean, they're gonna get money too.
Oh, yeah.
But they
But that
putting out a good
comes when you make a good product.
exactly. Exactly. Build it and they will come.
Right. Mhm.
All right. The structure of this film is established from its opening scene. The movie uses the theme of putting a band together to make the movie seem like a beautifully composed piece of music. We start off with Gwen Stacy playing the drums as she gives a look into her tragic backstory with her exposition, for lack of a better term. But it works because the drum beats keep the cadence of the story, and it's an amazing opening. She is unable to connect with her current bandmates and kind of throws off the rhythm of that particular group. She doesn't fit in. The coloring here is sick. The
Mhm.
world of each Spider-Man is represented by a different art style. These usually pay homage to the medium they come from, whether it be the CGI of the Spider-Man games or the live action versions. Even the best version, the Lego version is here. Even with the conflicting art style, nothing ever seems out of place. Everything interacts well together. I said it when we reviewed TMNT. They were not able to pull all of those disparaging pieces and put them together, make them look good. Their art was not smoothly rendered, and it clashed. Spider-Verse is able to blend these different styles of art and make a cohesive tapestry of beauty. The colors used in Gwen's world are primarily watercolor, akin to the design of her initial comic run. Haley Steinfeld has the perfect voice to bring this character to life. Get used to that line. I'm most likely going to say it for every character. The early interactions with her dad are potent. Their interactions set the stage for what gives the story so much weight. It is the drama and struggles that endure the characters to the audience. They are having a typical parent child argument. Captain Stacy, her father, wants her to find friends and have a normal childhood. He is in the process of trying to arrest her alter ego, Woman, unbeknownst to him that they are one and the same. This causes a rift between the pair, but in their first scene, right as they're going to end it, at the height of the argument, they hug, and the color and space around them turns from blue to pink. You have to see it. My words can't even express how much beauty is there. Young Sam, what are your thoughts on that opening?
Oh, it was a fantastic opening. Like, it has everything. Has action, emotion, comedy. It just for me, it hits everything to really grab me into the movie in the beginning and try to keep me interested. Just
Mhm.
like I said, the color theory was amazing, and it really has that deep emotion because you can kinda envision what's going on. It's like you kinda had these conversations before, and it's just like it hits you in the feels a little bit.
A little bit, straight at the start.
Mhm.
And speaking of the start, at the beginning of the film, Miles is in a lonely place. The friends he made in the last movie had to go back to their universes of origin, with no guarantee that he would ever get to see them again. His uncle pulled an Uncle Ben and died to cement his path to becoming a hero. He is undeniably different from anyone else in his immediate social circles. Having spider powers and that kind of responsibility as a teenager forces him to distance himself from the people that love him, not by choice, but by the nature of the job he chooses to do. His father, Jefferson, played by Brian Tyree Henry, and his mother, Rio, played by Luna Velez, want the best for their child. Being caring parents, they want to set the course they believe will net the best results for his future. At times, this greatly contrasts with the desires of the child. There's a joke about that's a good fake job that Jefferson says during the interview with the guidance counselor that I quote when I talk about what my son wants to go to school to study. People don't always get the reference when I say it, but the sentiment is there. We want our children to pursue their dreams, but we also want them to be able to successfully navigate the world that we currently inhabit as an adult. We have all this knowledge of the path that is in front of them, And we've traveled it. Because we can't live the life for them, it can be frustrating when they move in a different direction from the one that we would choose for them. But this is part of the parenting gig. You try to guide them, but in the end, they have to live that life. Shamik Moore really shows his range. He has the perfect voice to bring this
Mm.
character to life. I've seen him in other roles, and the fact that he can use his voice to believably get the timbre of a high school student is phenomenal. That is a skill of a well-trained actor. Just comparing his portrayal of Raycon the chef from the Wu-Tang series to the way he uses his vocal performance to embody the characters is commendable. He also has to balance many different emotions: hopeful, fear, sadness, disappointment, excitement, and he doesn't falter. Sam, give us your take on Moore's performance and the family dynamics of the Morales.
Oh, I like his performance. I've liked uh Shamik's the first movie I seen him in was Dope.
Mhm,
And I feel like
mhm.
that was just a really good movie for him, and it really showed, okay, he can act. But then when I we transitioned over to voice acting, you can still kind of picture, okay, this is a high school kid, and he's just still, like you said, he shows that range. And the whole family dynamic, it just feels like it's a typical, like, almost not typical black family because in the interview for the school, the teacher is like, "Oh, you struggled," and the dad's like, I didn't struggle." He's like, so they're trying to paint that picture for him, and it's like it's not
Uh-huh.
really. He's not. They're not really the typical black family. Dad's a cop. I guess mom stay at home. And the kid he
Yeah, I
wants.
don't think she works.
Yeah, it's not explained, but I guess she stay at home.
Oh, maybe she's a nurse. I
Oh
think she's
yeah,
a nurse. Yes.
yeah. So yeah, so it's like dad's a cop, mom's a nurse, and the son's basically a genius. So
Mhm.
I like the family dynamic of it. It seems like just a normal family.
Yeah, and the blending of those heritages are great.
Mhm.
We get a biracial Spider-Man. The mom is Puerto Rican, the dad is black, and we get to see those cultures on display, uh, things that we typically wouldn't get to see. The disappointment from Rio when Miles receives anything other than an A in Spanish is great. It's short. Just like you said, the conversation with the dad saying, "I didn't struggle." Those conversations are quick, fast. They're not lingered on, but the animators and the actors, they work together so well to get across those small details in a short amount of time.
Mhm.
Now, if you've been paying attention when describing these characters, we've been explaining a lot of real world drama mixed in with a small amount of vigilante antics. That was the strength of the pattern Stan Lee laid out for Marvel characters. First and foremost, these stories are about people with real life problems who just happen to have extraordinary abilities. I can tell that along the way, a lot of writers and filmmakers lost that aspect. This movie takes the blueprint and designs the natural evolution of that kind of storytelling. It's not the action, it's not that it's a second thought, it's the fact that Miles has all these abilities and wants to use them for good, and those competing priorities make interesting storytelling. We see Miles trying to get the dessert for his family celebration, and we want him to arrive with the baked goods intact for them to enjoy. But then he may have to detour to fight a villain. He doesn't love his family any less, but those worlds do consistently clash. Something Stan would do to Peter. Say Peter has a big test to study for, but was up all night fighting bad guys. It's a skill to make you care about the mundane activity when such fantastical ones are what may prohibit it from working out. The relationships are one of the film's greatest strengths. I remember almost shedding tears when I saw the trailer with Rio saying to Miles how she fears the world won't take care of her son the way that she will. So she asked him to do it for her. It still gets me. I was sitting on the deck watching the movie on the big screen and damn near cried writing this script and watching the movie. Anyone that has children, that's all you want is for them to be happy and healthy, knowing they eventually have to leave the safety of your protection and with the understanding of the world that they have to face. It took me a few scenes to get my composure and make sure I wasn't gonna be in public looking weird. How did you like the balance of the drama and action here, Sam?
It was very well balanced. Every line that needed emotion had emotion. Every line that needed comedy had comedy. It was just you just really can't give these actors enough credit for the work that they did in this film, or these 2 films. Going back to that line, the mom said, it was such a powerful line, and if I'm not mistaken, I remember you talking about it when that teaser trailer first came out,
Mhm.
and I don't think I was a dad at that time, or I
You
I didn't
weren't.
really
No, Slade wasn't born yet. No.
yeah, and then once he was born and I watched it again, it hits a little different.
Mhm.
But like you said, because I mean, it's the world we live in, and with him with Miles being a black mixed kid,
Mhm.
she knows that the world isn't gonna look after him the way that she is. And it,
Exactly.
it hits different. So yeah, it's just powerful. That's all I gotta say. It was powerful.
For real. Agreed. Something was achieved here that I honestly can't recall ever being done in the history of villaindom. This movie took a joke of a villain, not even C level. This guy was D level at best. The filmmakers took the character of the Spot, started him as a joke in this movie, and evolved him over the course of the runtime into a world-ending threat. There have been stories that took an existing villain as a concept from another tale, then used that antagonist in their story and increased their threat level, right? But to do it in this fashion in the same movie, I don't think I've ever seen it done. The trailers even pulled the move of using our preconceived notions to speculate about there being a bigger threat. While there is another antagonist due to a clash of ideals, Spot is the final boss of this series. Jason Schwartzman flips a switch and goes from goofy annoyance to being to a being so powerful it's going to most likely take all the Spider-Mans they can find to put a stop to him in the next one. Yeah, sadly we have to wait for the story to finish. This is the Empire Strikes Back of the Spider-Verse trilogy. He has the perfect voice to bring his character to life. Spot's powers lead to some hilarious and inventive fight choreography as well. So many things were happening during their initial squabble from when he was trying to steal the ATM machine. It takes multiple watches to really see what's happening. Sam, did Spot surprise you with the way his villain arc played out right before our eyes?
Yeah, it like you said, he comes from a he's not the day of the week enemy to, oh yeah,
Mhm.
he's a problem. Um, and it's done over the course of the movie, and it's done like you said. It's kind of done in the background. Like Peter
Mhm.
still, I mean not Peter, but Miles, he still lives his life, but there's still this spot going on in the background that is growing more and more as a threat. But you don't see it, but you kind of know it's going on.
Yeah, it's
Um,
ever present,
yeah, yeah. And
but it's
Jason
in the
Schwartzman,
peripheral.
right, right. And Jason Schwartzman, his I was sitting there and I was like, I know that voice. And then I looked him up. I was like,
Yep,
"But he was in Scott Pilgrim."
Ramona's last ex.
Yeah, and I liked him in Scott Pilgrim, so it's just
Oh,
like
yeah,
he yeah, and he really brings, like you say, he really brings the character of Spot to life. Like he just has the right voice for it, and just his delivery of some things is just like, man, it's hard to top that. But
it is. And that bagel origin story gets me every time. He he was really out here mad because Miles threw a bagel during an escape in the previous movie and hit him in the head, and the small words came up to read bagel. Now he believes himself to be the nemesis. That's amazing.
Mm.
All right. Oi, bruv. It's time to talk about another character that has no way of knowing will be good. Hobie Brown, Spider Punk, is played by Daniel Kaluuya. He has the perfect voice to bring this character to life. If you ask 10 people which Spider-Man was their favorite, 9 of them are gonna say Hobie. From his entrance, accompanied by that punk rock electric guitar riff, to his actions of sabotage in the background, he gives the movie the much needed ingredient that could quell most arguments that people say Spider Society wouldn't just go along with Miguel's structure. That mission being to ensure that all canon events must be allowed to happen, even if it presents the death of people that other Spider-Mans may care about. More about that in a bit. Miguel discards an empanada that Miles presents him from the Spider Society Cafe after he was told how much O'Hara loves them. And Hobie webs it over to him as if he's going to enjoy it himself. The scene doesn't focus on this or what he does after he retrieves the thrown away food, but that level of character development in the background with such a small amount of screen time is commendable. This character was written greatly. Somebody, probably a few somebodies, need a fucking raise. This is what you get with good writing. The only issue with this character, and I'll talk about it in a upcoming section, but he suffers the most from the sound mixing, the theatrical release sound mixing. His accent just doesn't register as loud as the other characters, the music, or the effects. Along with that Cockney slang, it can be hard to decipher what he just said. The home release seems to have fixed it, and now you can put the subtitles on, which thank you. Thank you, God. Sam, tell everybody why Hobie is your favorite character.
Uh, Hobie was great. He just had a lot of there's a lot of character. It was just like
Mhm.
he he arrived on the scene and he just captures you because he's just like, "I don't give a fuck about this shit." Basically, it's kinda how that's his
Yeah,
attitude.
yeah.
And during, like, his intro, they was like, "Oh, you think I'm gonna show my face? Get out of here." It's just
Yeah,
it's
I'm
just he
off it,
just
mate.
yeah, he just has so much character,
Yes.
and it's I mean, yeah, he's about my favorite Spider-Man in this movie.
Yeah.
Um, and I like how if you don't really pay attention, you'll kinda see, like, he's just grabbing stuff off the wall, and you think like, "Oh, he's just breaking stuff,
Yeah,
just
he's
trying
just
to
being weird.
rebel, just trying to
Uh-huh.
yeah." And then but it kinda just really ties into the storyline, and it's like, "Huh." It's
He had a
really
plan.
yeah, really, really clever. It was like, "Huh," because I was watching, and I saw him just, like, snatching stuff, and I'm like, "What is he doing?" And then once it came, I was like, "Oh," and it's genius.
Yes. Genius is the correct word, yes. Alright, Miguel O'Hare, Spider-Man 2099, is voiced by Oscar Isaac. He has the perfect voice to bring this character to life. His character is the de facto leader of the Spider Society and is the one that spearheads the charge to ensure that canon is not deviated from. I'll explain a bit for those that aren't entrenched in geek culture. The canon events are things in the lexicon of Spider Man stories, things that always happen to pretty much every character with that mantle. The way the story is supposed to be told. There may be slight discrepancies, but something like Ben Parker dying to teach Peter the responsibility lesson has to happen. If these aren't adhered to, the universe that deviates will be erased from existence. Miguel figured this out the hard way when he tried to change one and watched the whole dimension disappear before his eyes. Since that day, he has enlisted all Spider-Mans to work with him and stop this from happening. He is used he is used to show how strict adherence to what comes before can be dangerous. And the other side of the argument is that changing things can be even more so. This argument is used to describe what is happening with the movie as well. We have a Spider-Man of color in the lead role. There are a lot of people that fight against this. O'Hara even says as much. He tells Miles he was never supposed to have gotten bit as the spider wasn't from his universe. I see this as calling the Miles detractors out directly. By going so far as to make this one of the central conflicts in the movie, it means people have to face how being so strict and confining in stories that other people are telling can be a detriment. I'm technically a purist myself, but what I recognize is that it's because I love or like the previous material based on the adventures of my favorite characters. The thing that I've learned is that even if someone deviates from that or what I'm familiar with, if they tell a story well enough, I can still enjoy it. By separating expectations from reality and giving new things space to do something different, it could possibly give us more content to enjoy. You had two titties, now you got
Mm.
six. That's multiplication. Young Sam, what did you think of the conflict of ideologies on display here?
Oh, it was it's not hard to explain, but it's hard to just put in words because you get that sense of I'm not I'm not wanted.
Mm,
Um and then you get the sense of everybody's against you. And then you get the sense of back to that loneliness. And then it rings in your head how what your mom said, you got to take care of
mm,
yourself. Like take care of that
mhm,
little boy. And the way that it's done is it's almost poetic.
mm,
It it's done so smooth and it brings out so much emotion to where you really understand what this character is going through because you've probably been there yourself. Um and it also makes you root for that character. Um I mean that's what I think about it.
yeah, yeah, that's well said. Very well said. Wasn't gonna forget about Peter B. Parker. He was Miles' mentor from the previous film, voiced by Jake Johnson, who has the perfect voice to bring this character to life. And he comes with the most adorable of all the Spider-Mans, Mayday Parker. She is the daughter of Pete and MJ from his dimension. Him trying to get everyone to hold her and her wall crawling all over the society headquarters makes me smile every time I see it. Even the stoic Miguel, who, while he doesn't smile, when May falls off his shoulder, he immediately reaches to catch her. Peter is also one of those parents that will show you pictures of his baby while the baby is right there. I have one of those in my house. Looking at you, wife. The crazy thing is, they show the pictures of her on his phone, and you would think they couldn't get any cuter, but they do. Each time he scrolls, the next picture is cuter. While he doesn't have a big role on as he did before, it's not any less important. Hearing him and Issa Rae's Spider Woman, she has the perfect voice to bring that character to life, argue over who is the worst mentor is great. As as they are both in the same role for Miles and Gwen respectively. Ray's Spider Woman is with Child. She's great with Child and still Spider-Man around and even riding on a damn motorcycle. Sam, which of these mentors do you think is the most irresponsible parent?
Oh man, ooh, it's a tie. I
It's a
mean,
tie.
it's a tie. They both bringing their babies into danger. It's like you and it's a tie. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a tie. There's a lot of irresponsibility going on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. All right. If you can think of a Spider-Man that has been in media in any form, it's probably in this movie. The only
Mm.
one I can't confirm was in it is the Takusatsu Spider-Man. The internet says he was there. I've seen this movie 6 times and I have yet to spot him. My guess would be it's a rights issue, and that would be the reason they couldn't use the Spider-Man from the Super Sentai S Japanese version. I pray they put him in the next one if he's not in this one. It looks like I need to go get the Blu-ray so that I can before they stop selling them, so I can go scene by scene and pause to make sure if he's in there or not. Other than that, I can confirm if you like Spectacular, Scarlet, Symbiote, you like whiny ass Maguire, you like PlayStation, Lego, even a cat, horse, and T-Rex Spider-Man. They all in here. They went completely insane with the Easter eggs. Watching the last action sequence is similar to a Where's Waldo book. If all the people in the picture were alternate versions of Waldo,
Mm,
it's amazing and something I've never thought I'd see on screen. Yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home had 3 live action movie versions team up, and that was great. But this one has all the Spider-Mans. The one from the 70 cartoon was there with limited animation. Yes, this movie deserves multiple viewings. You're not gonna see everything in one sitting.
mm.
There's some intricate storytelling in place here, and I love it. Sam, seeing all these versions of Spidey in this movie, how do you think they will be able to top it in the finale?
Oh, the only way they would be able to top it in the finale is if you bring in the current Spider-Man.
Holland.
Yeah, you have to bring in
Mm,
Holland because I mean, you had Garfield in there. You
yeah.
had, Tobey Maguire. Like you said, you had all the past Spider-Mans, and then you even
Mhm,
had the ones from the first movie. The only Spider-Man you're missing is the one you mentioned and Holland's.
yeah. Uh-huh. If they do that, yeah, it would be crazy.
That would be every Spider-Man. They even got PlayStation 5 Spider-Man.
Yep, yep. It's just it's hard to explain how crazy that Spider Society sequence is. A sea of spider people. Anyone that you can think of that you've seen. Cartoons, live action, comics. They're all in there
In their respective art style.
in their respective art style. And it looks good.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right. So we've been saying singing praises to this movie, but I do have a problem. I do have one issue. Mm, sound mixing. This movie in theaters, like I said, it sounds better on home release, but in theaters, this movie had the second worst sound mixing of the year. First place, of course, goes to Nolan's Oppenheimer, but this one was competing neck and neck with it. Like I said, you got the subtitles at home, great, but it should have been mixed better for the theaters. It should have been. It was frustrating. Maybe the theater should have put subtitles. I'm seeing it in Dolby with the best sound in any theater around, and I'm still unable to hear exactly what people are saying at times. The music, the sound effects were both turned to 10, but the dialogue was set to a consistent 7. That means a lot of times you're not going to be able to hear what's happening. Along with the high rate of speech these characters use. Remember, this is a movie full of Spider-Mans. It gets hectic. It takes multiple watches just to catch all of the information. Thankfully, it's a great film, so I'm gonna keep watching it. Sam, you did you see it in the theater or did you wait for home?
I waited for home, and I guess, I guess it's just a theater issue because I didn't have that issue of not being able to understand, but I also watched it with subtitles, so,
Mhm.
I mean, having a little one in the house,
You have to.
you have to turn on subtitles. Um, but yeah, I guess that's really just only a theater issue.
Yeah. Yeah, probably so. They have to do something about that though. Same thing happened in Black Panther. There were scenes, and I don't think it was so much sound as it was visuals. There were scenes that were so
Mhm,
dark that you couldn't determine what was happening, and that is a tactic they use to hide if the CGI isn't the best, whatever, right?
mhm.
But
Yeah,
it's
it's gonna
still
dim
not
that
cool.
down.
Uh-huh. It's still not cool, and we don't like it. So do it right, people. This stuff, I mean, we're paying money. I know the movie ain't free, but us going to see it ain't free either. Sam can attest. After I initially saw this movie, I text all the homies and said, "Watch this shit immediately." I would wake up with the strings from the end credits song, "Am I Dreaming?" in my head. I would send the Spotify link to them and play the song all the way to work. The soundtrack is amazing. Metro Boomin is able to take the feelings and emotions of each scene and perfectly compose a track to accompany the on-screen action. Not only that, other background music that is played is on the same timing. The opening and ending have those drum beats that start and my heart begins racing. It's super exciting. This is probably no, this soundtrack is the one that I played the most right under the original Black Panther Kendrick Lamar joint. This and They Clone Tyrone are trying to bring back the time when music and movies complemented each other so well. I would have liked for them to have Haley Steinfeld featured on the song. When you have someone that can sing like her in this type of project, you should capitalize. Akin to how Will Smith used to run one for all his summer blockbusters back in the day. Now, it did get played out, but that was only because the music and movies started to suck. In this situation, they would have been perfectly safe. Sam, what are your thoughts on the soundtrack?
Oh, it's a banger soundtrack.
Mhm,
Uh, it like you said, Metro Boomin really does a really good job on this soundtrack, and I think what for a time there, this soundtrack had what maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 songs in the top 10,
mhm,
just on charts, so that goes to tell you, like, just how good the soundtrack is, um, and, like, I agree, I would like to see more movies and their music complement each other, um, because that just makes the movie just so much better
agreed.
in
Nowadays,
my
they keep getting
yeah.
this licensed music, right, from other things, from other time periods that aren't made specifically for that film, and
Mhm,
it will take you out of it. Mario did
mhm,
it. I love the Mario movie, but they came in with those 80s
mhm.
pop hits, and I love the song. I'm loving this movie, but not together.
Yeah, like I said, I've listened to this soundtrack a lot, and they Clone Tyrone. I mean, it's
Mhm.
probably the best top 2 soundtracks movie soundtracks, oh, man, of the year, yeah.
Yeah, possibly in the last 5 years.
Possibly.
Yeah, I can't think of one better since Black Panther.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So Sony is petty. We know this, but
Mhm,
I'm gonna prove it now. They took a jab at Marvel in this film. For those that understand, no, let me do this real quick. Marvel uses numerical naming conventions to identify different universes, whether it be comics, video games, movies, or cartoons. This allows creators to make the story they need in order to fit what their desired outcome is. It is bred out of the necessity of not having to always adhere to 80 years of continuity. Well, in the most recent Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness, the writers attempted to designate the MCU as the primary Marvel universe using the designation of Earth 616, even though that is reserved for the mainline comics. Well, in this Spider-Verse movie, they had a character that clearly called them out as Earth 199999.
mm,
I love I love that because that was one of my biggest complaints with Doctor Strange. No reason to complicate a complicated idea even further. How full of yourself do you have to take something that only a small percentage of moviegoers will understand and use it to say, we are the primary story? What an asshole move. On the other end, there is a gag that they use with for the Venom universe that I was less than pleased with. The movie damn near comes to a halt just for this one gag. Schwartzman attempts to carry the scene, but there's not even really much to work with. Luckily, it's short. Part of the reason I don't like the scene is that I hate the Venom movies,
mm.
but that's their property, and I know they want to have it on display. Sam, did you like the universe check that they pulled here?
Which one are you talking about?
Oh, so Miguel was running when they were
Mhm.
fighting the vulture, the paper mache vulture,
Uh-huh.
and he said, "Doctor Strange and that little nerd from
Mhm.
universe 999 or 199,999, whatever, all the nines. Uh, I don't even want to get started on the trouble they caused."
Oh.
Uh-huh, yeah. So he was
Ah,
calling out Tom Holland and Doctor
ye
Strange, even though
yeah.
Doctor Strange tried to say they were 616.
Yeah, like you said, it wasn't that much there to work with. Um, and, Sony being Sony, they have to put their stuff in the movie. So,
Yeah, I wish they
mm,
didn't.
yeah, that could have been left. That could have left on the cutting room floor.
I don't know if you noticed, but when a spot left the Venom world and was coming back to the blank realm where he traveled to the other dimensions,
Mhm.
he took a piece of gum with him, and the name of the gum was Venom Mint. That
I
doesn't
didn't
even
catch
make
that.
sense. But yeah, that's the insight from watching the movie 6 times. All right, so we really about to take it there. In the real world that we live in, there's I guess he's an internet personality, Dr. Umar, who is a certified hater. Let me tell you how he out here acting. Because Miles is considered a black superhero, technically he's mixed race, but whatever. Umar was upset, claiming that this fictional character was thirsting over a white woman. Oh Lord, is this what we doing? We barely get any representation. And when we do, this is what we are complaining about. What about all of the times when a person of color is the hero of the story and has to remain platonic with the female lead for fear the audience will reject if they see a black man kiss a white woman? Let me break this situation down. Do you know how hard it would be to find someone that you could relate to if you had super spider powers and couldn't even tell anyone else about what you were doing and fear that your enemies may target them? Gwen was the first spider person he met after getting bit. It only makes sense they would build a connection. Not only that, they are extremely cute together. It's a well written love story with so many obstacles to overcome. They live in separate worlds. There's also the fear that Gwen could possibly die if they get together, as Gwen dying with Spidey failing to save her is a canon event.
Mhm.
My thing has always been if you have someone that loves you and treats you well, it doesn't matter what they look like on the outside. It's how they make you feel on the inside. Oh, my. Sam, can you believe how much of a hater this nigga is?
Uh, I take what he says with a grain of salt because he's very just extremist, and I just
Negative
don't
too. Negative
I don't
extreme.
I don't agree with it. It's like he's just trying to push just the all black agenda. And it's like whatever. Like I don't even listen to it pretty much.
That's smart. That's smart. I made the mistake of listening to it. And I was angry. I was angry for a week. Oh man. All right. We've been talking about this movie since we started this podcast. Of course, you need to watch this shit. If you haven't, I'm a little upset that you don't like to see good movies, but there's still hope for you, my friend. Go ahead, get your life together, and watch this masterpiece of cinema. There's only a little bit over 2 months left in the year. I'm hopeful that we get some good films for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but it's not really looking like it. And with the actor strike, ugh, next year may be rough as well. Guess I'll have to watch Spider Verse a few more times. Sam, give them your take before we close it out.
Oh yeah, go and definitely watch this shit. And if you ain't watched the first one, watch the first. Watch both of
Hell
them.
yeah,
They're such good movies.
double
Uh,
feature.
s- Such good cinema. And heads up, if you don't want to go buy the movie, it's gonna be on Netflix on October 31st.
Mm, won't he do
So there you go. You can put them subtitles on, seeing.
You know I am. Now I'm going to get the Blu-ray, bro. I can't let that rock out
Oh,
without because
that's a body
mm,
shit, huh?
yeah, that's about it shit. That's about it shit. I'm going to get it tomorrow.
But yeah, go ahead, definitely watch this.
All right, cool. Amazing review. Thank you for listening to another episode of Watch This Shit. You come here for the realest take on new movies. So make sure to follow us so you're not left in the dark on whether you should check out a new movie or not. If you haven't seen this shit yet, what the fuck are you waiting for? We told you what to do. Now go do it. Check us out next time when we review Five Nights at Freddy's. And good day to you.